Yo, so it seems the UK-born, Atlanta-raised, self-proclaimed street rapper 21 Savage has been receiving quite a bit of backlash lately, following his recent "F the Streets" campaign, which has suddenly come about after the release of his fourth studio album, conveniently titled "What Happened to the Streets." Now, while some of 21 Savage's, fellow street rapper peers have shown support for his noble efforts, there are others who feel that this is just some kind of publicity stunt due to either low expected first week sales or legal issues, like Boosie Badass has recently implied, for example. Now, while I do respect Boosie's right to an opinion, as we all do have them, and you know the saying about that, I do find that his reasoning is flawed, to say the least. First and foremost, and I mean this with all due respect, but sir, weren't you shot almost 6 years ago while in the middle of paying homage to another brother who had just fallen victim to the streets prior to that? And now you're also going back to prison for 2 years as of January 26th for you basically not having the wherewithal to say F the streets a long time ago. Nah. Also, sir, um, what do you mean the streets is where you get all of your real love from? So let me get this straight. Not your mom and or your dad, not even your very own children, which much like myself, you have many to my overstanding, but the streets is where all of your real love comes from, huh? Mm, mm, mm. How unfortunate. Yet not all that uncommon amongst brothers and sisters within our nation of people, as many of us have long been aware. Then there's Charleston White, who had recently taken time out of his busy schedule these days and joined the conversation too, and was online publicly rejecting the F the Streets campaign and even discouraged 21 Savage's seemingly positive efforts for redemption, so to speak. Now, here's where I find flaw in CW's stance on this topic. See, in spite of the fact that Charleston White is oftentimes, so oftentimes, quite the blatant hypocritical character, I like the guy. Although I'm not keen on listening to him for his take on the quality of musical artistry or relationship advice or biblical knowledge, I do rather enjoy his old views on social reform for juveniles, constitutionally protected rights, yes, sir. Especially for his take on hypocrisy in street culture and hip hop, as well as his take on communities standing up against the tyrannical individuals and organizations within said community. I mean, as the saying goes, even a broken clock can still tell the right time twice a day. However, although CW is one of the first in this modern social media era who was calling for the street culture at large to say F the streets, he now seems to have somewhat of a sudden distaste for the fruit of the very seeds that he himself has been planting for so many years now. The question is, why though? Either way, there's much that could be debated on both sides of the aisle. However, I stand with 21 Savage on this one. Oh, and before any of you detractors go assuming that I'm some kind of 21 Savage fan, just know that gun to my head, knife to my throat, under the threat of being instantaneously murked if I don't name at least one 21 Savage song or recite one of his lyrics. Besides 21. Well, guess I'm dead. Although I do like that song by him featuring J. Cole. That joint slapped like Will Smith too. What was the name of that? Y'all tell me in the comment section what the name of that joint is. I think I'm gonna go listen to that after this, just cause. Anyhow, where was I? That's right. I stand with 21 Savage because I believe I understand where the brother is coming from. I believe. See, I don't believe he means abandon the foundational principles that were instilled in you through years of turmoil, trauma, struggle, and adversity that only some atypical version of the streets, i.e., the hood, projects, or otherwise, could produce. No. I believe what 21 Savage is echoing is, hey, enough is enough. We've traveled the world, we had our fun, and made our money, and lots of it at that, all by glorifying and perpetuating a demonic lifestyle that costs people their mental and physical health, their freedom, and their very lives. See, in my opinion, who else better to stand up and take some kind of accountability by attempting to somehow circumvent, if you will, the ongoing poisonous mindset of this generation that he himself has contributed to pushing to his own people for so long, other than a guy like 21 Savage. Yeah, you just gotta kind of have to think about that. I mean, think about it. If it's even remotely true about the ungodly blood oaths and sacrifices that go on in the higher upper echelons of the industry, he's seen it. He knows of it. And then for those it's like talking like he shouldn't do this, I mean, I'm thinking, what is it, messing up your bottom line of profit over positivity? And that's interesting because that goes for uh Boosie and Charleston White, which is interesting because they're two opposite sides, but on this one of the same coin. And I think it's what for Charleston, it's like, well, if too many rappers get on that and start really influencing that, I mean, that might mess up his whole shtick, you know, of being able to get on rappers for their ignorance and glorification of that type of street culture and street life that has been not profitable. So also then there's Boosie. And I, again, not dissing him, but he's not known for introspective penmanship. It's not that. It's always been glorification of this very thing. So of course he's saying, yo, don't mess up what's been feeding us, you know what I'm saying? But then you have to think about that. Like, so you're saying you're a part of the streets, the streets is a part of you. It's like you're saying you're, like many have said, you're married to the streets. The question is, if you're so attached to the streets and you want to be like married to the streets, why is it that you're seeking enough money to get a divorce from her? In conclusion, being that 21 Savage is not at all known for his lyrical prowess or penmanship, he is, on the other hand, well known for openly pushing wickedness throughout his career, which subsequently helps Satan, Hashatan, to continue to kill, steal souls, and to destroy our community, which is in much need of guidance, all from within. Well, from a biblical perspective, he is actually going about redemption in the correct way, according to Ephesians 4:28, which reads, "Let him that stole steal no more, but rather let him labor, working with his hands the thing which is good, that he may have to give to him that is in need." So I think that this man's efforts are commendable in this regard. Also, for those who say that it's because of his first week sales of his latest project, I say that that whole first week sales expectancy hype is all for propaganda and deception generated by the major labels themselves to keep their slaves performing optimally during peak fiscal time frames in which they deem to be fit. So by making their artists chase the magical expected figures in the first week that the labels drum up, it keeps the slave from peeping the fraud that's actually going on behind the scenes, which essentially exposes just how much a driven and talented artist does not actually need a major label to succeed. They simply need to get a better understanding of what success actually means to the artists themselves. Think about it. If an independent artist just so happened to sell nearly 73,000 copies in just 1 week of an album release alone, plus got number 3 on the Billboard charts at the time, that would never, nor could ever be seen as a flop. It could even be a Saweetie's album sales numbers. And for an indie artist, it is still celebration time. Say what? Sweetie, I mean no disrespect to you. I'm just illustrating a point. By the way, you are a beautiful sister, and I hope the Dubai allegations aren't true. Anyhow, the point is that this whole F the Streets campaign led by 21 Savage is actually just another sign of the overarching paradigm shift that is and has been taking place and becoming increasingly more apparent in practically every facet of our daily human lives as time marches on. Believe that. So, when I consider the well-known horror stories of the impact of drugs in our community onto the real horror stories from the prisons, the stuff that they don't like to talk about, and those of all manner of rampant violence, y'all can go right ahead and pass me a condom because it is definitely F the streets. Yeah.